Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, partners, proud families, and most importantly, graduates, welcome to the higher education graduation for the graduating class of 23. We are delighted to have you here today. Today is a momentous occasion, your graduation from Southwest College, an end and a beginning. As we stand at this point, we can reflect on the journey that's brought you here. Each of you has demonstrated dedication, perseverance, and ambition that has now culminated in this achievement. Congratulations. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Your achievement has been enabled by a huge village of people and organisations that have all contributed to your success. On your behalf, I would like to thank the visitors from our sponsoring department, DFE, local community representatives and officials, guests from government agencies, our guests from partner universities who work with us to develop and deliver the courses that you've come through, partner schools in our local community, our governors who generously give of their time to help guide the college in its mission, and most especially to the staff on your courses whose commitment and dedication constantly leaves me humbled. I'm sure I don't have to thank on your behalf, as you're well fit, and I'm sure you have yourselves. But I'd like to pay tribute to your families and friends and supporters who I know have supported you and maybe had to put up with a bit from you over your journey through your assignments, your exams, and maybe the odd wobbly. I'm sure they deserve a bit of the credit. But the bulk of the credit is yours. You set out in a HE program, you stuck the course to the end, and you achieved. You should be hugely proud. Beyond your individual success, let's take a moment to think about the impact of your achievement on our community. The skills and knowledge you've acquired will improve not just your personal situation, but serve as building blocks for community progress. Whether it's in healthcare, or catering and hospitality, or business, or whatever your chosen field is, your impact will elevate the well-being of those around you. The community is now enhanced by your success. Southwest College covers an area that has the highest levels of deprivation of any college in Northern Ireland, and I'm not saying that in a kind of a spirit of poor us, poor me. I'm just saying it's just a fact. And it's a fact that is a contributor to lower levels of progression to higher education. But one of the really positive contributors to higher levels of success in higher education and higher numbers of people progress in higher education is positive local role models. And that's what you now are. You're now role models for your community. So remember the influence that you have on others. It extends far beyond your own personal growth. You can encourage others, by your example, to consider higher qualifications, to pursue education, and you can be a catalyst for positive change. Nelson Mandela is often quoted as saying, education is the most powerful weapon that you can use to change the world. Your education is not just a personal triumph. It's something that will transform our whole community. And remember that learning is a lifelong journey. The world is changing more quickly now than ever. In all of your fields, technologies are coming along that will change the shape and nature of what you're doing in ways we can't even comprehend over the coming years. And success often depends on the ability to adapt and to grow and to come up with those change. It doesn't end with a certificate. It's going to be a lifelong pursuit. So I'd encourage you, as Ted Lasso said, always remain curious. I'd love to end my welcome on Ted Lasso, but there's someone else I really wanted to reference. W.B. Yeats said, education that's on the wall in the college in there, you probably saw it. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a flame. It's a quote that's often quoted to illustrate the essence of education. that it's about lighting a light that'll guide yourself and others on the way forward. Again, a fine note to end on. But I didn't want to let the season pass without a reference to the late, great Irish poet Shane MacGowan. And while he may not be widely recognised for his commitment to education or personal growth or community education, he did echo Yeats in one song where he sang, "There's a light I hold before me, you're the measure of my dreams." You now have a light lit by yourselves to guide your own way forward and to be a beacon to inspire and guide others. You've achieved your own goal. You can now inspire others to dream. Thank you. Thank you. I'd now like to welcome Chairman of our Board of Governors, Dr. Nicholas O'Sheill, to address.
Thank you, Pádraig. No matter how much I look at this speech, I can't compete with Ted Lasso, so I'll be a poor second today, or maybe third after Pete. I just want to start by welcoming, it's not a club or anything, but a number of chairmen, as they happen to be. I think we have 3, if I'm right, here in the front row. So you're very welcome, and we're delighted to have you here. Thanks for joining us. And I suppose a special welcome to our youngest member, who I'm well familiar with grandchildren, although I can't determine the age, but you're very welcome, and hopefully a former student of the college. So it's great to see you here. And it brings our average age and my average age down, so thank you for coming. Now look, the best advice I ever received about making a speech was very simple. It said, omit needless words. So my wife, who obviously is live streaming this event at the moment, would tell you that I've never been good at following any kind of advice, but I will do my best for this afternoon, not least because Celine has told me to be brief. But you can be the judge of it, you're the audience. Just one caveat that I have in relation to that though, on a day like this, which is your graduation, there are things that need to be said, and it's important that we all take a little time to say them and to mark the occasion. You did not do all that work for nothing, so hopefully we'll do just reward. So look, I'd like to start by saying thanking everybody for being here. Pádraig has covered some of this, but it's important to repeat it. We really appreciate people being here, and also for your patience to prepare, to stand in line and to get in here and to sit for a while we go through the formal process, which is equally important. And as Pádraig says, a thank you to your family and friends, because we all know when we're doing assignments and we're doing exams that we really don't want to do, we do need help. So on behalf of everyone at Southwest College, you're all very, very welcome, and hopefully you feel welcome. For the students, today is of course time well spent, because you're entering as graduates and leaving as graduates, and that's a moment in time to mark, and a moment in time hopefully that you'll remember, which we, all of us here, and hopefully you are very proud of, and you should be proud of it. We hope to get to this point has been an enjoyable experience, and we hope today is an enjoyable experience, and not least because of the people you've met along the way, which hopefully you'll have some lifelong friends from it. On a day like this, there are lots of people to thank, but the most important people, and be important today, are you, the students. It's the one day that you can be the centre of attention, and please be that and treat it as an important day. And of course, as I say, your supporters to get you to this point. You're certainly the most important people in this room, even though we all believe in equality. You're it today. And to celebrate your achievement is why everybody here is present, and to wish you well in your future career and in life, as it were. We hope you remember your time here fondly and come back and visit in the years ahead, not least to inspire other students and contribute to their success in the future, just as others have done before you. Now, just a slight digression, but before I was chair of Southwest College, I lived in Dublin, although that was many, many years ago. And at the time, we told our children we were moving to Omagh, which you can imagine went down like a lead balloon. Our daughter one of our daughters at the time was 13, and she certainly didn't want to leave Dublin because she had a boyfriend. He was, of course, the love of her life, and she had known him for all of a month. So we were in the bad books. Anyway, when it finally came to the day we were leaving, she was really upset. And I always remember her saying to me, I'll never find another boyfriend like him. Now, we were pretty happy about that, to be honest with you, because he was the main reason we were leaving Dublin at the time. Anyway, look, as you would expect from the chair of the college, I'm a fan of further and higher education. And all of my education was done while I was working full-time, so you'll get no sympathy from me. My experience was immensely enjoyable and rewarding, both personally at the time and since, and professionally at the time and since. And it helped me, which I wouldn't have realized before, but just the tremendous value of a good lecturer or good lecturers who showed care and commitment, who shared their knowledge and experience. And I still have very strong memories of people who did that with me. As a result, I benefited greatly from my time in education, and I have no doubt that you will too over the years ahead. So I would like to thank on your behalf all the lecturers who supported you to get to this point. And I would equally like to thank all our non-teaching staff, as none of us would be here today without the excellent and often unseen work that they do on a daily basis. And that's what makes up the college and gets us logistically into this occasion. And a big thank you also to Grania Sam, who's here today from the department, and her colleague Louise Watson, and their colleagues in the department for the economy, for their support to the college, which goes directly to the students. The department and the college, people wouldn't necessarily know externally, but we form a key partnership. And Grania, if you can pass on to your colleagues, we certainly appreciate the ongoing support from the department, which is pretty much on a daily basis. So you often hear, big bad department, but we work with them very closely and are happy to do so. Not just about your department, of course, Grania. Look, just turning our minds for a moment to the wider global marketplace. As graduates, you're graduating at a very exciting time in the economic cycle of the global marketplace, and that's where you're coming into, whether you realize it or not. You could be working for yourself or another company tomorrow, and it extends all around the world. The digital economy, as you know, has been exciting, and more recently, with the introduction of artificial intelligence, it swings into, and I have to say, dramatic action, as it has creative and destructive effects on our lives, on jobs in every industry and discipline and sector, and on the economy. And there will be pluses and minuses in relation to the years ahead. Its impact on how your life, and particularly your life, because you're starting now as graduates, will change and keep changing in the years ahead, will be spectacular, and it will be spectacular. We are, of course, used to technology, and we understand how it brings change and how it often disrupts the status quo, which isn't a bad thing. But the current wave of artificial intelligence will bring change beyond our imagination, because it will force us to think differently and act differently and live and work differently, and that's already begun, as I'm sure many of you know. But even wonderful technologies bring their own stresses and strains, not least because of their recent raft of technologies which are deliberately designed to be addictive in nature, to get you hooked and to addict you and to get your attention. And that's already, as we're seeing, triggering a raft of health issues in people and younger people than yourselves that will only accelerate over the next generation. In this context, it's important to understand that the richest companies in the world are recruiting the best people they can find in the world to develop the best products in the world. And those products are specifically designed to get you hopelessly addicted. And this isn't a doomsday speech, but it's just to flag up something that's going to impact on your lives quite a bit. And so far, all of that is completely legal and largely socially acceptable. We have some politicians here, so we might have a chance of influencing the law in the future. But I mean, there's no doubt but the addictive nature of some technology, not all, some technology. We're going to look back in 20 years and see it a bit like we look at cigarettes now and wonder why we didn't do something about it. But look, it used to be that technology companies were friendly and competed for your eyeballs, if you like, and for clicks and for likes and for hits. Now they've decided to cut all that nonsense out, and they simply want to capture your brain and control it, if you like, to get attention on them and therefore earn money. Now, I have some very simple advice today. You can take it or not. It's very hard to think that you would listen, never mind take advice from somebody my age when you're your age, but I'll give it a go. I'm just saying don't let them. Don't get addicted to these technologies. And stopping them, as far as I'm concerned, can be very simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple. The appetite of these technologies for your attention will only grow and grow. And your greatest defense, and something you will need to do as graduates, is learn about them and adapt to them. Quite simply, your ability to adapt to the changes that are wrought and will be by AI will help determine your success, your personal success, the success of the organizations you work for, and the success of any businesses you create. And the best way to adapt is to develop a sense of purpose about what you're doing and why you are doing it. To balance the many challenges of technology, you will need to develop a strong sense of purpose, in my opinion. Which reminds me of a story, a very simple story, about a school teacher who was giving a drawing class to a group of 6-year-old children. At the back of the classroom sat a little girl who normally didn't pay much attention in school. But in the drawing class she did. For more than 20 minutes, the girl sat with her arms curled around her paper, totally absorbed in what she was doing. The teacher found this fascinating, so eventually she asked the girl what she was drawing. And without looking up, the girl said, "I'm drawing a picture of God." Surprised, the teacher said, "But nobody knows what God looks like." The girl said, "They will in a minute." So look, I share that story simply to say, big or small, simple or complex, have a sense of purpose about what you're doing. Your career will be easier, it will be better, you will achieve more when you have a clear sense of purpose about what you're doing. And the best thing about having a sense of purpose is that it's entirely within your control. It's entirely within your control. You don't have to look to any technology to do this for you. So from today, if there's one thing I'd ask you is to change your life. If you don't do something about it, if you don't develop a sense of purpose, there are countless technologies queuing up to just do that, if you like, to influence you. Now, on a very, very positive note, in my career, which at this point, which has been long and varied, I've never witnessed a time when there have been so many businesses in so many sectors looking for so many people to come and work for them. So that's got to be good news for you. In fact, when you talk to businesses today, and you'll be hearing from Pete now shortly, the greatest challenge they face is that of finding the people they need. And this is across all businesses, all sizes, all sectors. It wasn't like that when I graduated. Companies of all types and sizes in all industries and in all sectors are looking for huge numbers of people with a variety of skills in a wide range of areas. And if you are that person, and you are that person, you will be able to leave here today and get a job, or get a better job, or create your own job. Pete, who you'll hear from in a moment, created his own job some years ago and has since created hundreds and hundreds of jobs for other people. So always consider that as an option. You will enjoy a long and successful career, build a prosperous life, and be able to give back to the community and help the next generation. Now, sitting here today as a graduate, that could be a pretty good ambition to have from your first day. It may also seem a little daunting, but in the months and years ahead, you will have the opportunity to do all that and more. And if you take anything away from today, remember that it begins now, from this moment, and you need wait no longer. Now, as you leave the college, don't forget you're always welcome to return here. You don't have to leave and never come back. Please come back to us to refresh your skills and learn new ones, because they will be needed in this fast-changing world. And it's guaranteed to keep changing and keep changing at a faster pace. Of course, during your career, which has now officially begun, you will always be a graduate of and an ambassador for Southwest College, we hope. And we are very proud of that fact, and we are very proud of you and what you have achieved, and look forward to seeing what you achieve in the future, as we said earlier, for yourself, but also for your family and your community. But come back to the college, not only because we look forward to hearing your individual story, but also because hearing about your achievements will encourage and inspire and motivate the next generation of students that come to study in your place. I thought I'd pause there. I thought I heard something, so I'll take that as appreciation of the... Now, look, I would like to thank Celine McCartan as Principal or Chief Executive of the college, and her entire team of teaching and non-teaching staff for all the work in planning today's graduation ceremony and celebration of your achievement. As you know, enormous effort goes into organising an event like this, and all the planning and hard work of so many staff from so many areas of the college is greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by everyone here today. And finally, on behalf of everyone in the college, our sincere congratulations to each one of you on your graduation. I hope you have a wonderful day of celebration with family and friends, and don't forget to enjoy the moment. You certainly deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. It gives me great pleasure to invite our guest speaker today. It's somebody we've been trying to get to come along to this occasion for the last few years. Pete Boyle is the CEO of Argento Jewellery, which is a real Northern Ireland success story. He's a local Sion Mills man, and his career has taken him from Sion around the world and back again to still canoe around the rivers of Gorchin and Newton and Strabane. So he's here today to talk to you a bit about that journey and his navigation of the easy bends of the river and the rough water of that journey, and to give you kind of an idea of where your career might take you and the changes that it might encompass. So, Pete Boy.
First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for inviting me along here today. Graduation's a really important day in anybody's life. It can mean a lot to you and your families. Not only that, it can mean a lot to future generations. My father was the first person to go into higher education in the late 50s in our family, and they say that a child of someone who's been in higher education is more likely to go into themselves. So not only is it an achievement for yourself, but you're effectively giving a leg up to the next generation as well in your family. So, I mean, when I was asked to come and speak today at the graduation ceremony, I thought I'd look up my own graduation photo and think back to how I felt back then in the early 90s. And I graduated out of Jordanstown, and the photo I had to go looking for because it's not so good, you know. So the morning of the graduation, I got a great big spot right between my eyes, and I had no tie, so a friend of mine who worked as a prison officer lent me his tie, and that wasn't so good either. So I hope you had made more effort, because your photograph will be with you forever. So mine is at the bottom of a drawer. My wife won't let it out. So, but it was. I look back at the optimism we had back then, you know, and look out and see when these young people and these are heading out into your lives. And I'm 52, and I was up in Strabane with my mum. There's a great tradition of brass. I went up to see a brass band at a Christmas concert we do every year, and I saw a friend from school, and I looked over across the restaurant, and I said to him, you know, the restaurant, I said, you know, where did the time go? The two of us are sitting there, two old fellas now, and we're going like, it seems like only yesterday we were graduating, you know. So get out there and grab your life by the horns, and don't miss any opportunities that come your way, and don't miss any opportunities that don't come your way either. Make things happen for yourselves. You know, it's not a dress rehearsal. Your life comes along, and you know, it's all ahead of you. And if I could get to do it all again, go back to my graduation day, I certainly would sign up for that, you know. So, but that's not possible. I mean, my education journey started in Sion Mills, just down the road. I really loved school, and I left Sion and ended up in Strabane in St. Coleman's High School. And again, at school, I was kind of enthusiastic student, you know. At sport, I always joke, tell my kids that I represented the school badly at every sport that they did, you know. So, so much so I was the type of kid who brought his boots in the thought that someone will always be injured and not turn up. And sure enough, one day there was a boy fell over on the way onto the bus, and the teacher came in and said, "Boy, I bet you brought your boots." I said, "Well, I just happened to have them here, you know." So that was my one turnout for the school sport. I did my A-levels. I did a deal with my mum. Gap years weren't so popular back then, but I didn't really want to go to higher education at the time. And, you know, higher education at the time, you got a grant. They paid you to go to university, and they paid your fees. And so my mother could see no reason why you wouldn't go. It was no-brainer. You were going. It's free, and they'll pay you money as well. So I said, "Well, look, if I get my grades, will you let me take a gap year?" And she wasn't so keen, but she said, "Okay, if you get your grades and you get in, you can take a gap year." So I went off to Belfast to join a band. I got my grades and went off to Belfast. And then I discovered that I just knew musicians, that I actually wasn't one of them. And hanging around musicians didn't make you a musician. So after 6 months, I packed that in and came back to Derry and got a job in the Dole office in the Strand Road. And that was an education too, because I realised I didn't want to work at the Dole office, and or in any office for that matter after that. So that was me finished with that, and off I went to Italia 90. I had enough money saved up, and I bought a ticket to Rome, and I did 5 weeks in Rome, and I saw Maradona cry after losing in the final. I saw Gaza cry the night he lost to Germany in north of Italy, and it was really quite a life-changing trip for me. It really showed me how capable I was of just making things happen for myself. So I met a guy from Uruguay in the campsite who was making leather bracelets on his boot. So we'd tie a little leather thing off, and he'd sit around the campfire and make these leather bracelets and sell them to whoever happened to be sitting around, you know. And so I bought one, and I said, will you teach me how to do that? And he did, you know. So he gave me a notion, well, I could do that, you know. And at that stage, I was fixed on traveling, but I still had to go off and do my degree. So I'd signed up for aeronautical engineering in Manchester, and I was at Catholic high school in Strabane. And if you were good at maths, you were doing engineering. Any colour of engineering, any flavour of engineering, you were just doing engineering. There wasn't really a lot of choice. And so my flavour I picked was aeronautical engineering because I thought I could fly a helicopter if I became an aeronautical engineer. So I went off to Manchester to do that, and it was 1990. The whole Manchester music scene was kicking off. It was a very exciting time. I got a job in a bar. The degree was 40 hours a week of lectures and 8 hours a week of practical, and after a couple of weeks I realised it was too hard to work for me. So there was a Donegal guy took our practicals, and I said to him, what will an aeronautical engineer actually do? He said, well, mostly, Peter, you'll be designing weapon systems. And I remember thinking, I just don't want to design weapon systems. You know, I can imagine go back to Aldergrove Airport to go to Strabane for Christmas, and they say to me, and what do you do, son? I said, well, I design weapon systems. And they'd say, could you step into this room, Mr. Boyle? And I knew there was plenty of amateur weapons designers in Strabane. They didn't need a professional. And so I got on the phone to the University of Ulster, and I spoke to a man called George Dixon, and he accepted me for business at the time, and I thought that's going to be more up my street. 16 hours a week of lectures was definitely different than 40. And back at the time, 1990 was an interesting year because Thatcher got thrown out, and we had a free drinks party in the Students' Union and a big sign saying, Maggie's gone, celebrate. And I was in there serving the drinks. And then it was the first year of student loans. So the very first student loan came out, it was £360. And I took the student loan because it was free money, I took it. And so I bought a car. I bought a 1978 Austin Maxi in a rust bucket, and I bought a load of posters. There used to be a guy selling posters at the Students' Union that you couldn't get anywhere else. They were like gigantic posters. And I said, will you sell me some of those posters? And he says to me, oh, no, but I'll sell you all my damaged ones. So he sold me all the ones with creases and torn corners. And I loaded the car up and with these posters, so I headed back to Derry and set up in the archway in Derry near the Guildhall to sell these posters. And the archway was two things. To get from one part of the city to the other, you had to pass my stall, and it kept me dry when it was raining, so it was a very good spot. I picked a good location to trade. The posters were gone about a week, and I'd met a guy who was selling jewellery, so he said to me, look, Pete, if you want to... you've been nice to me. I was always first to turn up. So Ballyshannon Folks Festival, I was the first to turn up. I was good at getting out of bed. That wasn't a problem. Hard work for me. I loved working. I just loved the workplace. I loved getting up, doing things. I loved having my own money to make my own decisions. It was freedom to me. And so I was the first there. He turned up late, and he said, can I sit up beside you? So I moved over and let him in at the end of the weekend. He said, look, you were good to me. Do you want to come down? I'll introduce you to jewellery trading. So I went down, bought the jewellery, headed to Sligo, Flacchio, and I remember on the Saturday, Flacchio and Sligo, it was like 120,000 people there. I'd never seen anything like it. It was just a joy. I stood there selling earrings, drinking pints. I thought I found my job. It was definitely better than the Dole office in the Strand Road. And I remember making £1,000, and it was that much money. I mean, to give you an idea, if we were working in a pub at the time, we were making £40 a week, and I had 1,000 just for standing there where it would have been anyway. And so I got my friend Didi to take a photograph of me in the rusty car, sitting with £1,000 in my mouth. I still have the photograph because I thought I'll never see this amount of money again in my life, you know. So I'm sitting there, I have the photograph, and you know, we went off, and then I traded Christmas in Belfast. So I went off, did my degree in business, and I was the first student. They were teaching entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship now is used as a very common word. Back then, really, I'd never really heard of an entrepreneur. Richard Branson was kicking about. Maybe you could call that an entrepreneur. But now it's a common word, and it's the thing that people want to be. But we did the first year of entrepreneurship in Jordanstown that year, and they allowed me to do my placement year for myself. So I got to set up my own business, and so all the time that I was doing my business degree, I was also street trading on Royal Avenue. One of the things that happened on Royal Avenue at Christmas was that we couldn't light the stalls at night for late trading, and I tried various things, gas lamps, and we tried torches, and nothing seemed to work. And the gas lamp burnt a woman's coat, and I had to buy her a new coat. And then one day I was standing there, and I didn't really know Belfast, the old Tesco's there. I was right opposite the Argento, and I realised there used to be a Christmas tree there. The bank had closed down. I thought the bank used to have a Christmas tree. I bet you there's a plug. So I went round the back, and sure enough, the plug was there. The bank was closed, the plug was there, and I said, I wonder, did they forget to turn off the switch on the inside? So I went round to Greens, and those days I had to screw together a whole set of lights, and I go round with a plug and plug it in. Sure enough, the bank hadn't turned the switch off. And so 5 years I ran the lights to the stall on Allied Irish Bank's electric bill, so it was very good. We're lucky enough to get to go to San Francisco. I'm an entrepreneur group that I got invited to in 2012, and they take us away each year, and we get to spend time together with all our entrepreneurs, and it really is a fantastic group of people to be away with. We're all a wee bit wild, and we don't like rules much, and we bend the rules a lot. So one of the trips we were in San Francisco, and we're talking about AI and the power of artificial intelligence, and different, all this technology. It can be overwhelming at times, the thought about how much it's going to change, but it's not going to change your life that much. In my opinion, you're still going to have to get up, you're still going to have to fall in love, you're still going to have to go to sleep, you're still going to have to eat. I think people can over egg the digitization of your life. You're still in control of your life. Odd thing was, in San Francisco, we got taken into Facebook's headquarters, and they said to us, they held up the phone, the head of Facebook, and he made a big speech about how the power of the world was in this phone, and you used to have to go to university, and the great universities held the keys, and if you didn't have the money to buy books, or you couldn't afford education, you could never get education. And yet someone in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, with a phone can go on the phone, and he can get access to all of this information, and it was all very moving. And then they were sitting there saying, the question is, what will we do with this power? Well, later in the night, we were all sitting at the pub trying to remember the words of Irish folk songs, and after a few pints, and we discovered there were great little mini karaoke machines. You could use all this power for looking up the forgotten words of songs, So all the power, you can't change how people use it, So, life's moved on from then. I've sold part of the business. We went from 5 shops to 60 shops. We discovered a Pandora bead that really changed my life and changed our business. I was in a bar in Bangkok, and a street trader that I knew pulled out a Pandora bead, and he said, my sales have trebled. And he had a shop in Perth, Australia. And I can tell you, my sales hadn't trebled at the time. So I went home and phoned Pandora, and we got Pandora, and it really changed everything we did. It was like a huge growth thing. I was opening 10 shops a year. I was never in the house. I was just out. I just applied myself, and we got it. Eventually, Pandora, we were the largest partner in the UK. We sold, last count, I enjoy counting the numbers, we sold 1.1 million bracelets and 7.8 million beads. And, it was just a huge success story that I happened to be lucky enough to be in that bar that night when Michael pulled out that bead, and so luck plays a lot. But luck is part opportunity and part what you do with that opportunity. When he pulled out that bead, I was the right person, the right time, right place to take advantage of that, and I did. Pandora then bought us out, and since then, I've been investing in heritage properties. Some of you may have seen the programme where we restored a big building in Belfast. It was on the BBC. So we restored Ormiston House, and since then I've been restoring all our heritage buildings in Belfast. We're currently working on a big office project on Queen Street called the Belfast Printworks. And so I get to do that, and that brings me great joy. The other thing I do is water sports. So I've been surfing and kayaking my whole life, and that runs parallel to and I've got set up Belfast Kayak Academy. And in the process of doing that, we managed to buy a reservoir in Belfast. So it was a Sunday, and I'm sitting with my wife, and I said to her, let's go out for a drive. We go out for a drive, and we pull up to the gate of this big lake that has a for sale sign on it. And she turned to me and said, you have not? And I was going, yes, we now own a big lake outside Belfast. And she said, what did you buy that for? I said, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I think we're going to do water sports on it. And since then, we've done 750,000 visitors at Let's Go Hydro. COVID was quite a funny thing. They closed us down, and then Ireland First Minister one morning announced, "You can all, tomorrow morning, we're lifting restrictions, you can all go to drive-in cinemas." And I turned to my wife and I said, "We can do one thing that doesn't exist. We can go to a drive-in cinema. There's no drive-in." I said, "I'm going to open a drive-in cinema." So within 4 days, I'd opened a drive-in cinema. And we had great fun during the whole thing. We didn't make a lot of money. I had to buy 2 cinema screens from China, ship them all in and set it all up. But it was, in a time where it was very stressful for everybody and businesses were struggling to stay relevant, it gave me something to do and harness my energy. And I think we brought great enjoyment to the people of that area for the period that we were operating it. So again, like I have many strings to our bow. I tend to run about doing many things at one time, and it often drives my wife clean mad, But and the thing about opportunity that we were talking about earlier, I was thinking back to my graduation day, and the one thing I remember was that for 4 years at my college, I'd fancied this girl for 4 years, and I'd never had the courage to tell her. So on my graduation day, I knew I might not see her again, so I grabbed that opportunity and told her I fancied her. So remember that and take your opportunities when they rise.
Thank you very much for that, Pete. Those of us that are a bit older than you are probably all thinking back to our graduations and the people in our classes that we... We'll now move to the main part of the day. And I'd like to ask Brian McAuliffe and Celine McCartan to come forward and present the certificates to yourselves.
Good afternoon, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, and welcome to our graduation ceremony. This is the most pleasurable aspect of my role as Head of Quality and Student Engagement in announcing the graduates from Southwest College for 2023. Today's awards is the culmination of the commitment and effort that you have made during your time at the college. But let's not forget the support and encouragement that each of you have also received from your family and friends. Firstly, we will present awards to the graduates from the Department of Commercial and Business Services. Celine McCartan, our Chief Executive, will make the presentations, and Dr. Nicholas O'Sheil will present the Scholar of the Year awards as we go along. So first up, we'll start with the OCR Level 4 Certificate in Administration Business Professional, and that is Amy Carlisle. CIPD Level 5 Associate Diploma in People Management, Matthew Calvin. Donna Douglas. Michelle Green. Jessica Halton. Joanne Irwin. Victoria McFarlane. Niamh McGlone. Kathy McNulty. Amy O'Neill. Claire Rankin. And Michael Shine. Now moving on to the ILM Level 5 Diploma in Leadership and Management, Bernadetta Viana. Now, the Accounting Technicians Ireland Level 5 Diploma for Accounting Technicians, Aidan Corrigan. Claire Grimes. Emily Patterson. Now, the Ulster University Foundation degree in Business Management, which is dual accreditation with ILM Level 5 Certificate in Leadership and Management, Daly Farry. And Curtis Johnson, who is also our Scholar of the Year. Ryan Lynch. Aoife McCaffrey. Leah McConnell. And Connor McKenna. Jude McManus. Helen Rutledge. And Luke Thompson. Now for the Open University Bachelor of Science in Corporate Law and Finance, Maeve Mulholland. And Claire Quinn, who is also Scholar of the Year. Okay, now for the Ulster University Foundation degree in Science in Hospitality and Tourism Management with Specialisms, Certificate of Higher Education, Auxiliadora Guzmo Tavares. And now for the Ulster University Foundation degree in Science in Hospitality and Tourism Management with Specialisms, Kieran Cassidy. And Flora Gutierrez. That concludes the presentation of awards for the Department of Commercial and Business Services. We will now present the awards to the graduates from the Department of Engineering, IT and Creative Industries. And we'll start with Open University Foundation degree in Visual Media Arts Film. That's Aaron Curry. Cody Edwards. And Connor Gallagher, who is also Scholar of the Year. Now for the Open University Bachelor of Arts in Visual Media Arts Film, Riona Moore. And Ryan Mullen, who is also Scholar of the Year. Now for the Open University Foundation degree in Visual Media Arts Game Development, Dylan Burke. Tegan Smith. And Daniel Thompson. Now for the Open University Bachelor of Arts in Visual Media Arts Games Development, Jamie Freeburn, who is also our Scholar of the Year. Cameron Lynch. Shane Meehan. So that concludes the presentation of awards for the Department of Engineering, IT and Creative Industries. We will now present the awards to the graduates from the Department of Health, Life and Personal Sciences. And we'll start with the Pearson BTEC Level 4 Higher National Certificate in Healthcare Practice with Helen Waslowski. Right, now for the Ulster University Foundation degree in Science and Health and Social Care, Stephanie Hughes. Patrick Jones. Colette Kavanagh. Emma McBreen. Kiva McManus, who's also Scholar of the Year. Emer Patton. And Abigail Watson. Now for the Ulster University Certificate in Counselling Studies, Fiona Bonner. Sinead Goodwin. Louise Hughes. Jill Irwin, who is also Joint Scholar of the Year. Beverly Johnson. Amanda Cairns. Tanya Lynch. Shane McBrien. Mark McCann. Siobhan McCool. Erin McLaughlin. And Jane McMinn, who is also Joint Scholar of the Year. Now we move on to the Ulster University Foundation degree in Integrative Counselling Practice. Dougal Dorman. Joy Graham. Jane Labib. Ursula Martin. Jill McCormick, who is also our Scholar of the Year. Karen Miller-Carson. Robert Mullen. Rachel Richardson. Okay, and now for the Pearson BTEC Level 4 Higher National Certificate in Applied Sciences Biology, Leah Core. Now for the Ulster University Foundation degree in Applied and Medical Science, Carolina Tierney. Now for the Open University Foundation degree in Sport and Exercise, Sophie McCrory. And Liam Sweeney. Now for the Open University Bachelor of Science in Sport and Exercise, Niall Devine. Dylan Fee. Christopher Gilroy, who is also our Scholar of the Year. Robbie McDade. And Sohra Tuman. Thank you. So that concludes the presentation of awards to the Department of Health, Life and Personal Sciences. I would like to congratulate all of our graduates on receiving your awards today. And before I sit down, I would like to ask you to give a huge round of applause to your family and friends, to your tutors, and the staff of South West College for the support and dedication that they have shown to you during your years of study. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian and Celine, and congratulations, graduates. I'd now like to invite back to the stage newly minted graduate of the Open University Foundation degree in Visual Media, Arts and Film and Scholar of the Year to give the student vote of thanks, Conor Gallagher. Conor.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my honour and privilege to stand here today to represent my fellow graduates as we reflect, show gratitude, and collectively look forward to the next chapter in our lives. Every individual out there brandishing a gown should take great pride in the accomplishment that being here today represents. With that said, it is important that we incorporate all of those around us who have helped us on our journeys. From parents partners, friends and family, any of those who have taken the time to listen as we travel through the journey of education should be acknowledged for their support and helpfulness along the way. Lest we forget, of course, the entire staff at the Southwest College. Everyone, from the friendly receptionists to the wizards in IT, all the lecturers and the helpful folks in student services, and arguably most importantly, those who serve us tea and coffees in the canteen. On behalf of all the graduates in attendance, we thank you. To touch on a personal note, I returned to full-time education for the first time in 15 years back in 2021. It was a daunting thing to undergo, especially when I saw the timetable in year one. Much to my dismay, we were scheduled to be in from 9 a.m. on a Monday. But this was something made easier by those around me, as even though our class was small, there was a strong bond that would make it all an exciting experience. Sharing a room with like-minded people is such a powerful thing, and we are all here because of that bonding thought. Education, bettering oneself, and ultimately achieving something we can all take pride in. I played my part in last year's graduation from behind the camera, helping to interview the graduates and ultimately showcasing the event. Today, I am honored to be a graduate and thus would like to take a moment to express gratitude to those responsible for putting on to this great event and to those who are responsible for documenting it. From here, as we all look forward to whatever our futures may bring, let us be present in this moment, celebrate our success as we have all earned it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Conor. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, graduates, families, friends and colleagues, it's my pleasure on behalf of the governing body and the staff at Southwest College to close our graduation ceremony today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Celine McCartan, the Principal and Chief Executive at the College, and being here to celebrate with you today is a real pleasure for me. We've come together to recognise the achievements of the College's higher education students and apprentices, acknowledging the hard work and determination that has been demonstrated, and I hope that we've done that well. As Principal, I am immensely proud of all our students, of our staff, and of everything that further education has to offer ambitious young people within our communities, as well as those of you who join us to upskill and retrain for career change or development. And I think that the most important part of this is working together towards our vision of inspiring learning and empowering people. So at this time of the year, I want to add my thanks to those that have already come before and acknowledge all who have worked towards this vision through their commitment and contribution to the Southwest College. To all our staff, who at times have been stretched in many different directions, but have always continued to give of their best to students. To our governors, who are represented here today for their continued support and work to shape and steer the college. To all of the others that we work with regularly, such as businesses, community organisations, our local schools, the universities represented here, the Open University, which provides quite a number of our accredited programmes, as well as Ulster University and Queen's University Belfast. To the Department for the Economy, our awarding bodies, and everyone else that the college works with during the course of the year. And finally, to our students, represented today by our graduates for being so brilliant in each of their unique ways. I want to wish all of you a very peaceful, safe, and enjoyable Christmas. And just to finish with a few words to our graduates on this special day, success is no accident. It is hard work, perseverance, learning, studying, sacrifice, and most of all, a love of what you're doing. You have worked, you've persevered with your learning and your studying, and I hope that you get to do something that you love and that gives you great joy. And as you've heard before, please remember that there's no end to education. You will continue to read books, papers, phones, experience learning and upskill yourself in weeks, months and years ahead. And we at the Southwest College wish you every success in your own lifelong learning journey. I hope that you can take with you what you've learned here and go from here with passion, with a sense of purpose and determination to use your skills and knowledge to make a difference. And as Peter said, don't hold back, take your chance. It's not a dress rehearsal. I wish you every happiness in your well-earned achievement, and I hope that you've plans later to celebrate more. So finally, we may have been a bit reserved up till now. Can I ask you to raise the roof with a big loud cheer for the Southwest College graduates of 2023. Very shortly, our academic procession will leave from the stage here, and we'd ask the graduates to join us, and then we'll exit the hall, and the ceremony will be officially over. Thank you.